scaling doesn't make things easier. It absolutely magnifies the things that are not going well. It magnifies everything, the good and the bad, to be fair. But if your systems are clunky, scaling will break them. If you disappeared from your business for 30 days, what would happen? Does it keep running like a well-oiled machine, or does it collapse? I asked a client that once, and his silence said it all. He wasn't running a business. He was actually carrying one on his back. And maybe that feels familiar. You're working your ass off, you're pulling in good money, but your business is a bit of a beautiful mess. You're the one making every decision, approving every post, solving every problem. And if that's familiar to you, maybe you need to hear this episode today. Because if everything depends on you and your business, you're not scaling your business, it's surviving. You're surviving. I'm Deirdre Martin, triple certified award-winning international best-selling author. I help entrepreneurs like you hit their first 100K or their first million in business without sacrificing your health for your wealth. In today's episode, we're diving into what it really means to scale and why entrepreneurs unknowingly set themselves up to freaking fail. I'm going to be talking about how to step out of the bottleneck and into your role as a leader, what to simplify before you grow, and how to get your team and systems working without you. And I've got a free business scalability checklist you can download. It's going to help you find the cracks before they break you, and I'll tell you where to grab it soon. So let's get into it. And let's first talk about the bottleneck. And if you haven't yet figured this out or identified what it is, it's you. Yep, and me, and every other founder who's ever started from scratch and built something we care so deeply about, because we're great at starting things, but scaling, that's like, it's a whole different game, right? And the truth is that most business owners, they don't delegate, they abdicate. They hand things off without the structure to support it, and then wonder why things break. And because it feels easier to just do it ourselves, we become the biggest blockers to growth in our business. Like, you know, that thing where you're like, oh, I should give it to whoever, but you just end up doing it yourself, and you work late and you miss that family time, or you miss time with your friend, or spending time doing your hobbies. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So here's what to do instead. Start small. Fire yourself. Pretend you're on what's it called, like Dragon's Den or Shark Tank in the US. Pretend you're fired, right? And literally fire yourself from one thing this week. Seriously, fire yourself. Just one thing. Choose the lowest value task on your calendar and give it to someone else with clear instructions and a feedback loop. And my favorite way to do this is for you to literally explain to them, my definition of done is this, and then call it out what that is. Interestingly, recently enough, I literally had this conversation with one of my clients. She's a Google Drive full of stuff that she could package and sell. And she's been in my Millionize program. She's loved it so much. She wants to create a version of that for her ideal clients. And like, what she wants to do is create assets that she can share with them. In Millionize, I have a thing, it's called my Millionize Vault, and literally every resource I've ever created or gotten my hands on is in the Millionize Vault. And she basically has her own version of Millionize Vault in her Google Drive, because she's been running a business for like 18 years. She's an expert at what she does. She lectures. She's got so much knowledge and information and tools and templates and things that her ideal clients would find really useful. Things she's acquired over years of serving those people exceptionally. But it's not in any order, and there's so much of it. She literally said to me, Deirdre, I would need to take a month out to sort it all out. And she was totally serious. She was in her brain trying to figure out, when is this month that I could take off? Like, when can I do that? And I was like, oh, hold up. What? No freaking way. You don't even have to do it yourself at all. You've got a VA, right? And she's like, yeah, she says to me. And I'm like, okay, so why not create a list of categories? You know, things that you'd like her to group your things in this Google Drive into. And then maybe create a maybe file and a bin file, because in the maybe stuff, she can put in things she's not sure exactly which category they fall into or if it should be deleted. And if she creates a bin file, well, then rather than delete things entirely from your Google Drive, they're there in the bin file. So they're not gone forever or lost forever. They're literally there. But think of the time it would save you to delegate this, because you know, when you do this yourself and you're looking through everything, it's so much more precious to you because it's something you've created, whereas somebody else can come in and sort that stuff out. I kind of feel like it's a little bit like cleaning my house. If I'm going to clean my house, it takes me the best part of a day because I'm organizing things as I go, I'm tidying up, I'm like, oh, I'm looking at the baby photos if I'm in that cupboard, you know, all that sort of stuff. But if the cleaners come into my house, they're in and out and done in 90 minutes. And I'm like, what? How come I can't do that? And it's because of the attachment that we have to these things. So it's so much easier then to delegate it. And not only is it going to save my client a month in this instance, but it's like this person that she'll delegate it to won't even take her a month. It might take her a day or 2 days tops, right? So she's like, oh my God, why didn't I think of this? That's literally what she said. And you see, sometimes you have to look at how to buy back your time. And it's not because you're lazy or tasks are beneath you. Like, yeah, I still clean my house. I get cleaners, but I still clean my house. But if you don't get out of the weeds, you can't focus on your strategy, leadership, or vision. And when I have cleaners coming in, it doesn't take me a day to clean my house anymore. Or maybe I want to do a deep spring clean on a room. And that does mean going through the wardrobe and dumping the stuff that's got holes or bubbles or whatever, donating things to charity, whatever it might be. And at the end of the day, that's what will end up creating your $1 million business. It's literally creating that space for yourself, space that gives you the time to do a deep dive when you need to do it, space that allows you to be more visionary, be more strategic, be more creative, be a better leader, all of that. And if you are not sure what to delegate first, oh, well, that's where the business scalability checklist is going to help you. It's going to help you see what's still too dependent on you and what's ready to scale. And you can grab it at www.deirdremartin.ie/scalability checklist. I'll link it in the show notes too. Well, here's something I've experienced as I've grown my business, and that is scaling doesn't make things easier. It absolutely magnifies the things that are not going well. It magnifies everything, the good and the bad, to be fair. But if your systems are clunky, scaling will break them. If your onboarding is cumbersome, well, then customers are going to complain in their droves, right? If your team is confused, scaling is going to create friction. You're going to waste so much time going over and back and ending up doing the things yourselves that you really should have just let your team handle. And if your messaging is vague, well, scaling is going to kill your conversions. So here's a stat that like totally shocked and surprised me the first time I heard it. And that is when you go from 3 people on your team to 4 people on your team, technically that's like a 33% increase. What actually happens is complexity within your team can go up by 400%. It's because of Chinese whispers. It's because of things being complicated, because maybe they're in your brain and you haven't figured out standard operating procedures yet. So what's the fix? It's simplicity, systems, and rhythmic meetings. Yep. You need a pulse in your business, whether it's daily, weekly, quarterly, those types of rhythmic meetings where you're going to review data, you're going to look at problems that get surfaced, and people know what the hell they're doing. So as an example, in my business, I have a team meeting every Monday morning, and then I meet with the individuals in my team once or twice a week, depending on what they do for me. And then I have time out with my coach where I'm looking at the stuff in my business. And then I have time by myself to look at stuff in my business. And this is why, like, even when I coach my millionized clients, we set up a simple KPI dashboard. But ideally, you'll have this in your business anyway. So even if it's just a shared Google sheet to start, that's okay. But you need visibility of your numbers and your goals. You need to know or track the different things, the different types of departments that you have, and what's working, what's moving, and all of the stuff that's going on, all of the tasks that need to be happening in there to make sure that you're moving forward and you're constantly getting momentum. You're taking action that gets you traction, that builds momentum. Eventually, you accelerate, and that's where you end up millionizing your business. And again, if you're not sure what systems are strong versus maybe what's a little flaky, well, then the checklist is going to walk you through 4 key areas in your business, like offers and delivery, your marketing, operations and systems, and your CEO mindset. Because yes, even your mindset should have a goal or a KPI, and you should have someone to talk to about this and maybe look at your mindset progress over a period of time. So watch out for a future episode on that. But again, go and grab that checklist. You can go to deirdremartin.ie/scalability checklist. Oof. Oh, I'm so sorry in advance, because here's something you might not want to hear, my friend, but maybe, like I said at the start of this episode, maybe you're just here today because you really need to. If you build your business around you, you've just built yourself a prison. Yes, I know. I have done it myself, right? I've literally done it myself. The first 2.5 years of my business, it was totally a prison. Like nothing could function without me. And I've worked with founders who couldn't take a long weekend without everything grinding to a halt. And scaling isn't about creating a business that runs whether you're in the room or not. Scaling more so means having clear roles and responsibilities, decision-making frameworks, a team that knows the mission and values and can act on them without you having to hold their hands. If you think about an Olympic athlete, right? Their coach comes in, the coach works with them, and then the coach is there guiding them along for their race. And the coach might discuss with them, their meal plans, their rest, all of that. But it's up to the Olympic athletes to go and execute on that themselves. And then those athletes, they don't just train for race day, they plan every meal, they shop for every meal, they plan for every rep that they're going to do, they plan for every rest day. They have a system and they have structure, and that's why it works. Business is no different, whether it's your calendar or something else. And I think I mentioned this before, like somebody once said to me, like, I treat my calendar like it's my Bible. If it's not in my calendar, it doesn't get done. My calendar literally rules my day, but I block off my calendar. So if I want to go off on a Friday and spend the day with my horse, well, I block off that Friday so I can go and spend the day with my horse. So I rule my calendar. I choose what goes in there, but I also choose what gets done. And that's the structure that I have in place. My team knows that they can go in and they can add things into my calendar Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, but they can't add anything to my calendar on a Thursday or Friday, because there's a system, there's a structure. And this is where I want you to listen to episode 117. In there, I break down how you can scale your income without burning out, because when we are trying to scale our businesses and when we're looking at our offers, very often what we end up doing is we make ourselves available for services every day of the week. I make myself available for services 3 days a week. And the reason why I did that was because originally I was available for services 7 days a week, 24/7, if that's what it took to get my business going. But actually, before my business even took off to the extent that it's at right now, I brought it back to 3 days. And here's why. It's because our brains try to complicate things, right? Naturally, we're like, oh, this is too simple. We need to make it more complicated. And what ends up happening is we can't see the wood from our trees. And so many of my clients are the business. They're personal brands, just like mine. So they feel that they themselves have to provide the service to their clients. They feel they must deliver on everything. But in reality, There are so many ways to bottle your experience and package it up into different things that you can sell that actually don't take your time or require you to be live with a client at that moment in time. So definitely go and check out that episode 117. Now, when it comes to scaling your business, and in the times that we're in right now, where there's potential threat of tariffs, where there's a bit of unease and uncertainty in the US, and that tends to have a global knock-on effect over here in Europe. And I know, well, with UK and Brexit, there's talks happening in the EU, and we've got wars going on in a few different places right now. Like things, the ground underneath us is a bit shaky, right? But very often, and this is what I've experienced over the last number of years, COVID, I've seen this in COVID, I've seen it in the time when I worked in banking, very often businesses are going to look at their outgoings when things are uncertain. It's just a natural thing to do, and it's a smart thing to do. But when we look at our outgoings, we're trying to figure out what can we cut back on. Can you guess some of the things that they usually cut first? It's marketing, right? So common. And when times are hard or they're about to get hard, well, here's the thing. Marketing is not optional, it's strategic. So actually doubling down on your marketing strategy is more important than ever. More important than ever, like seriously. So here's a quick question for you in terms of scaling your business. When's the last time you blocked time off to work on your marketing strategy? Now, I'm not talking about writing a post or tweaking a caption, but time to actually review what's working, what's not, and why. Because if you don't plan for this, if you're not doing that at least weekly, you're winging it. So you're not planning to scale. What are you planning for? I'm not planning at all. And here's the thing, your marketing isn't just about getting clients, it's how you attract talent, advisors, investors, partners. It tells the world what you stand for and why you matter. It's what can get you invited to be on podcasts, to be keynote speakers, and stand in front of other people's ready-made audiences, which potentially could open you up to a ton of people who want to work with you. But if you stop marketing, if you cut back on your marketing, if you don't plan it strategically, you're not leveraging one of the key drivers of business. And that's something that could hold you back and affect your scalability. So set aside an hour this week, review your customer journey, ask, are we speaking to the right people in the right way at the right moment? And for a step-by-step on that, listen to episode 123. You'll find it on Spotify or wherever you're listening to me right now. And that episode is literally called Why You Need a Clear Client Journey Map to Scale Profitably. So it's totally aligned with what I'm talking about today. It totally touches on the marketing bits as well. And I've got the most incredible episode coming out in the next couple of weeks. It's going to be episode 132. It's already been recorded with the epic Joey Coleman. You heard it here first. And if you're listening and episode 132 is already out there, well, add that to the list of episodes to go and tune into today. And if you're thinking, Deirdre, this all sounds great, you're throwing so much at us though, where do I start? Well, you already know, go and grab the checklist, deirdremartin.ie/scalability checklist. Okay, so let's land this episode, because like I say, yep, I'm throwing a lot at you right now. And really, if I was writing this in a post, I'd have my TLDR, too long, didn't read. Here's what the summary is. Scaling is not about doing more. It's about doing less better. It's about getting out of the weeds so you can lead. So here's your move, right? Because I'm all about action and traction and moving things forward. Download the business scalability checklist, pick one bottleneck in your business and fix it. And then stop building around yourself and start building beyond yourself. And if this episode made you think, at all in any way, shape, or form, well, then share it with a fellow founder, your business bestie, someone whose day you'll have made by just letting them know what you're thinking of them. And also giving them some nuggets of wisdom so they can scale a freaking epic business too, right? And for you, you fabulous entrepreneur, you didn't start this business to drown in tasks. You started it to make a difference, to create freedom, to leave a legacy, and all those amazing things. So let's freaking go scale it. Let's do it. And until next time, keep mastering your business.